Hi, this is a video on the future of human design, or to make it more relatable to you, the future of what or you have a design, and there's so much potential in developing that, especially in terms of where that's going to go in the future. So I want to examine that, and I want this to be the first of a series of videos that I do called The Future of Your Design, coming out of 30 years of human design being around, but where's it going? Because it's extremely young and hasn't really been understood what is capable there. You know, it was a great job that the founder did in getting it out there and grabbing people's attention and interpreting the map and what that meant from the knowledge that he had. And it was a great job. But 30 years now, it's not but in the sense of dismiss it. No, I seriously mean he did a great job, got my interest. I've been captivated with it and exploring it for 10 years. And this is growing and developing and evolving. And it's at a point now where it could, 30 years on, it could crystallize into a structure that becomes very much like an institution or a religion. Oh, well, this is what was said, and this is the way it is, and this is what all the gates and centers and everything mean, and that's it. And, you follow the book, you follow the manual. Or it can really grow up now, really mature, start stretching itself, build upon the foundation that is there, just like a human being growing up and developing and, having 30 years of growth. Now there's a potential over the next 2 years or the next 10 years to truly mature. And beyond that, 40 years in, to have a fully matured adult life that will stretch out for another 40, 50, 60, 70, who knows how many years. So this is a really important time now, 30 years into the development of human design, to really, these 10 years are where you really mature and grow up and start moving in the direction. This is what happens with human beings. 30 years, they get taught all the ways of the world, or not, but they're there to learn about the ways of the world. And then in the next 30 years, to experiment with it, to find the value of the ways of the world to you. And in the 30 years after that, to go your own way, literally. To express your way fully. Now that happens for a human being. And seeing this is about design, and not just the design of human beings, but the people who will be getting any value out of this video, are going to be human beings, or human beings treating their dogs better or trees better or whatever, or building teams that are more appropriately designed to work in the real world. But it's us humans that are going to make the difference. And we're the ones who are going to build and create the future. Now, this leads me to why I even started this video. Today, one of the channels I was looking at on TV, Sunday, and I was just going to chill out. I had a few clients in the morning and various other things to do. And then I thought I'll just chill out. And there was an ongoing series of movies on TV. It was like all the Alien movies, one after the other. And I was sitting watching the first and then a bit of the second, and I just suddenly had this realization, because the first and the second were done quite a while ago. And I looked at the whole structure of the sets. This is supposed to be science fiction, which is interesting, science and logic and fiction married together. And I was looking at the type of computers they were using and this construction of the sets. And I realized this isn't the future. This is a movie set in the future, basically working with the cutting edge of technology that existed at that time. And then as the movies progressed, the technology seemed to evolve. And of course, the timeline did. But I realized when we do even sci-fi, when we plan the future, when we try and envisage the future, what we do is always biased by what we know. And one of the things that's absolutely clear about the future is it's uncharted, especially at this point in history, because it's very clear that things aren't going to keep going the way they've gone for generations. In the past, yes, you do what your father and your grandfather did, and the tribe follows these traditions, and you can pretty much predict that, what they did is what you'll do. Maybe someone will break out and discover something new, but it was a lot slower. Today, movies made 20 years ago, the technology in them doesn't have any real relationship to what's going on. The computers and the way the computers read out. It was obvious in the movie, in the early ones, it was based on the cutting edge computers 15 years ago. So they couldn't see what was coming. They had some guesses. And it's really obvious now that when we vision the future, when we imagine the future, when we do that, it's hard to see beyond what we know or the very cutting edge. And so we go to look at the cutting edge thinkers, but, even their guesses, when you look back, even their predictions were highly generalized and missed major things that came in. So I thought about it, what's the components of that? And you can't do imagination to make, to get a really clear view of the future. But you can open your imagination and let the future speak to you. Now, that's not doing imagination, that's using your imagination to receive. Now, that's a really big topic. I just want to, it's not something I want to look at in depth today. And I've looked at it for decades myself, and it's just, okay, the future, there's so many possibilities out there. Where are we going to go? And what are the possibilities we have no idea of yet? And how would you tune into them and what they are? And you look at the movies that are done today and the technology in them, and 20 years ago, they didn't have the ability to do that. I remember about 7 or 8 years ago, I was at the Santa Barbara Film Festival, and I got to talk to James Cameron, and the guy who produced Titanic and Avatar and various other things. Some of the Alien movies, I think. And he was talking about teamwork, and I asked him a question, and I said, what's the difference between running a team on a film set? And he'd been talking about diving down to the Titanic and other deep diving stuff that he'd done and has done since, even more, and what was involved there. And I said, what's the difference between running a team on a film set, you know, creating these amazing movies, and diving down deep, you know, doing deep dives with a team there? And he just thought about it for a moment, and then he looked at me and he said, the difference is if anyone screws up on a deep sea dive, we all die. You know, that's it. And it's like, whoa, that's serious stuff. And I thought about it later and I said, yeah, if someone screws up on a film set, hey, you fire them or you teach them to do it better and reshoot the scene or whatever, right? But what he was saying, when you go deep, when you dive deep, when you're in an uncertain environment, an uncharted environment, or environment that is very different than what you're comfortable with, when people mess up, everybody can be affected. Everybody could die. And what amuses me now is he's now working on the Avatar movies, 2, 3, 4, I think, maybe 5 as well. They're working on at least 4 other follow-ups to Avatar. Maybe not all of them will be shot, but they've all been scanned out, they've all been plotted out, and they're filming them at the moment. And what they're doing is a lot of underwater filming. And they've had to, what's delaying the movies until the early 2020s and even into the mid-2020s, is they've had to develop a whole new technology for filming underwater, scenes underwater, not just a little bit underwater, but whole scenes. They're developing a whole new technology around underwater filming. And again, because it's underwater, it's more critical. There's more pressure, literally. You know? And I'm just thinking about how that applies to the world we live in now and the future, and then the future of where your design and human design are going. Because in the first 30 years, just like being children, hey, you can screw up and you can do this and you can do that. And, you know, your parents take care of it. And, you know, the consequences aren't, well, they increase and the responsibility increases. Hopefully, you learn responsibility and not just freedom at any cost. But now in the 30s, human design is ready to dive deep. And the level of responsibility, as well as the freedom that living your design gives you, the level of responsibility in living it and in experiencing it, in sharing it, in my case, sharing my experience, and I don't know whether you'd call it teaching, but really working with people on their designs. The level of responsibility is increasing, and that's not a bad thing. It's so much more real now. You know, I see myself and the people I work with and clients and people I interact with who may be interested in working with me. I see where we make decisions according to our design and then we talk ourselves out of it, or we don't wait long enough and we jump right in, depending on how you make decisions. And we do it. You know, people who are 1 year in, 2 years, 3 years, 7 years, 10 years, like myself. I know I've talked to people who've been in 20 years and they tell me the same thing, you know. And it's like, if it's just something, you know, a tool to share, if human design is going to be a technique or a structural religion, you know, which it isn't, because it isn't, then if it went that way, if it was capable of even going that way, it could just stay where we're at. People studying it, but some people really experiencing it, you know, sharing it all over Facebook, which is a fascinating experience to watch and participate in. You know, you just begin to see that so many people, you know, there is so much happen because of the new age, the alternative new age, so much. Some of it was great. I benefited from that, but so much of it is slowly declining into freedom without responsibility. A great teacher of mine said once, a lot of the new age is the old age in drag. Well, I see that potential unfolding in human design. A lot of human design is just the mind revved up, talking human design, but doing the same old thing in a more sophisticated and difficult to, you know, unravel way. You know, it's something that requires maturity because it's such a powerful thing, the knowledge, the understanding you have, and the access it gives you to incredible capacities that you have within you. I can see why Ra said we've got to teach the children, because it takes time to really grow into it and to really explore where it's capable of taking us. So that's the first point of the future of human design. You know, we've got to start earlier if we can. We've got to be patient with ourselves and with other people, because it's so real, like our body is real. In this world, it's real anyway, you know, and you can't rush it. And it's something that goes through its growth phases. And yet we are in the next 10 years in a very potentially maturing phase. So what's that going to take? Experience is one thing. There's no substitute for experience. Again, I've said this many times. My father, his picture's up there somewhere. There it is. My father used to say to me, you know, there is no substitute for experience. And decades later, I can agree with him. The advanced work in anything is the basics done really well. One of my mottos, shared with me by someone 30, 40 years ago, made a very deep impact on me. The advanced work in anything, especially your design and understanding human design and making it more relatable and available in the world, is the basics done really well. And then making it more relatable without dumbing it down, without making it, you know, some people in human design want to package it and put it into business. And great, go for it. Some people are drawing on their spiritual and new age experience and adding that to it. All of us bring our own unique thing to it, but it's more than any of those. See, your design is it's like your body. You have a body, and that's what you need to get to know and take care of and get the best and highest use out of in your life if you're going to fulfill the full potential that you have in this life. Well, it's the same thing with your design. Your design isn't separate from your body or your mind. It's the way your mind and your body operate in this physical world. It's how you operate. And if you grasp that and increase your capacity to operate the way you do operate to its best and highest potential, bingo. That's going to make a massive difference, because the one thing that's for certain is we haven't been. Well, we have till about 250 years ago. Then we got an upgrade, and now we're just beginning to explore what's possible with that upgrade. And to do that, we need to bring in more relatable, more practical, but really more deeper interpretations of things. And I'll give you a really simple example of this. For years, for those of you who know about your design, there's been strategy and inner authority. And for years now, I've been asking the people I work with, my clients and the people I work deeply with, what is your strategy? I mean, why would you even bother with your strategy? What is it? What does it do for you? What's in it for you? And I got all sorts of answers, some very accurate and some not so, it's just like, yeah. And I'd say to them, from my experience, your strategy tells you when you actually have a decision to make. Your strategy is how you know when you have a decision to make, versus when you think you've got a decision to make, other people are pressing you to make decisions, you've been brought up to make decisions that way. No, strategy is brilliant because it identifies when you have a decision to make. And the first word in every strategy, including manifestors, has been wait. For me, I'm a generator. Wait and respond to what is actually happening. So my strategy is to wait and respond. And even manifestors wait until you want to do something. Projectors wait until you're invited. Reflectors wait a month. Give yourself plenty of space, because you make decisions very differently and you need the time. And for a long time, I had clients coming back to me saying, wait, oh, does that mean I've got to sit on the couch and do nothing? I've got to make money. Look, I know that's what the strategy says, and I know that's what you're telling me, but I've got to make some money. I really need to. And I'd say, look, wait doesn't mean do nothing. I'd say wait and enjoy your life. And then about 2 weeks ago, it just hit me out of the blue. The word wait, for a lot of us, reminds us of our childhood, reminds us when we were told to sit on the couch and behave yourself. You wait, or when you have to wait in a queue or wait in a line to get into a theatre, or, you've got to wait to receive your passport, and you've just got all this time to kill and there's nothing to do. And most people see that as boring. Yes, now you can get on your cell phone, you could maybe talk to someone around, you can amuse yourself, but it triggers off this feeling of like, I can't do anything about this. Which freaks our minds out because we want to do something. Now, there's a lot of value in not doing things, in just sitting back and letting things unfold, allowing the energy and the timing to sort themselves out and waiting to do things at the right time. But then I thought about martial arts and sport and myself and various people I've talked to and situations I've been through, and it suddenly hit me. A much better word that people find far more relatable is relax. Relax. And respond to what's actually happening. Relax and become inviting. Relax until you've got something you want to do. And it hit me, and I've shared it with a couple of dozen people and clients particularly, and they love it. Because, yeah, I can do that, even though relaxing often involves not doing much. People relate to it as, oh, I can do that. And while you're waiting, relaxing, you can be doing whatever it takes to get you into a relaxed state, because it's not something in our modern world particularly that comes easy or natural to us. There's so much stress out there, whether it comes from our mind or from the people around us or our openness in our chart, absorbing all that, whatever. And it hit me, one of the first things that needs, look, human design has so many benefits. One, it shows you what a unique person you are and how unique all the other people are around you. And it puts us in a place where if we really work with it, if we really experience our design, inevitably we have to acknowledge that experientially, that people are different, I'm different, and give each other. It eventually comes to the point where you either hang on to your prejudices or the ways you've done things or the way you think, or you start giving yourself and other people the space to be themselves because they're unique. Human design also enables you to make great decisions, far better, far more accurate decisions for reasons I'll go into another time, right? But it really does increase the effect of your, it's so powerful, and it's not as rigid. And, you know, I was reading an article by Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos that Daryl sent to me, and they're talking about decisions. You know, there's one-way decisions where if you step through that door, there's no coming back. And there's two-way decisions where, you know, you can try something and then that isn't quite working out and you can step back through. Right? And I went to Daryl and I said, mate, God, we can take this and combine it with human design and really show the nuances of decision making that are built in there and how you handle decisions in a one-way situation or a two-way situation, and the fact that both are allowed for and built in there, and who's good at which ones. I said, we can have a ball with this and make it so relatable to business people coming from our experience. So it really does help you make incredible decisions. I mean, at 10 years of experience versus, well, whatever, 59 years before that, from a child, from a baby onwards, oh, there's no comparison. And when I make bad decisions, I know it quickly and I can adapt, and I'm learning how to both learn the lessons from it and turn those into assets and let go of that, i.e. get back to relaxing as fast as possible. But the other thing that human design really does, and this is the future, is people need, if they're going to live their design, to learn to relax and let go of stress. Because you can't tell when you've got a decision to make. It's much harder to pick up when you're going to make a decision if you're not relaxed. Waiting, I realised this years ago, waiting was to stop us. You know, when you wait, it forces your mind to slow down and it gets you out of the flow of what your thoughts, wherever your thoughts are taking you, and brings you back in touch with your physical body. So the waiting serves a purpose, but calling it relaxation, because that's what it is, and then learning what relaxes you, finding out what does that most effectively. It gives you something to do while you're waiting for the next decision to emerge. And the beauty about doing that is those decisions, the better you get at it, the better those decisions take you into an uncharted future and give you the ability to find the better options, the best options, and the best and highest expression of who you are as a human being, and the best and highest use of your design. Now, the reason I went into all that stuff at the beginning about, we can only really, the large part of us can just imagine a better version of what we're having now. And that's not where we're going. The world is not, many of the alternative people, which I've been a very big part of for a very long time, have, imagined the way the world is going to become. And the one thing I've discovered, and I've seen other people being forced into realizing whether they like it or not, is it's not going to be that way. It's not going to be an ideal. It's not going to be a purely mental construct. It involves us in these bodies, in this world, that it involves dealing with the realities of living in a physical world and dealing with people and countries and politics and everything the way it is, not the way we think it should be. And human design is so beautifully designed to take you into that path that isn't one extreme or the other. In fact, the very first thing in the development of design in any moving being was finding that middle path between the extremes. Gate 15, for those of you who know anything about it. And then learning to flow and to relax. See, the thing about a martial artist or a great sports person who has great results, and I've been a runner, I've surfed for 30 years, I've swum, I've known sports people or observed them, watched their performances. The very highest level, the one thing that stands out about them with people even like Michael Phelps, yes, he's got big feet and big hands and da-da-da-da-da. But the one thing that they all share in common, from running to surfing to martial arts to sports, is the highest level are the most at ease and relaxed. Relaxation, not rushing, being in the flow of timing, moving between the extremes and down to that gate 5, the rhythm, the flow. That's essential to embracing your design, whether you're a tree or an ant or an insect or a gorilla, or a human being or a team, a small or a core team or a powerful team, as I call them, small and large teams. There has to be that ability to release stress. And particularly when your ideas, often some of the visions and dreams you thought were going to work out in your life, don't work. I've had that happen big time. Big time. I was going to live in America, I had the visa, I had everything. And here I am, the other side of the world. It's like, and am I glad I ended up here? You bet. Right? I had no idea. It's not what my vision was. That's not what I was thinking. What got me here? Living my design. I had no idea. And I had to surrender and relax and enjoy myself every day and just let my design do its thing and support that. It's not just compromising and going between the extremes. It's coming up with an option that combines the best of both and something so much better as well. It's finding that sweet spot that combines the best of, as my mother used to say, the best of both worlds. And then just to round this off, because this is just an overview to set it up, even just for myself, but to share with you as well. Because I want to innovate. I want to take your design or the knowledge we have of design, particularly the design of us as human beings. I want to take it to a whole new, mature, more relaxed, more relatable level that doesn't in any way dumb down the power and the beauty of it. In fact, it enhances it. And to do that, the words, the insights, the knowledge has to come from experience, because then it has a reality and a practicality to it that other people can relate to. It's not just being cleverer, reading more human design books than anybody, or studying all the courses and being clever. And it's not ignoring that completely either. You need to do whatever you need to do with that to understand what you're dealing with. But then the experience and doing the basics really well. And then, I thought satisfaction was peace for 30 years until I really experienced satisfaction and went, oh my God, that's what I was calling peace. But that's satisfaction, which gave me a lock-in point to living my design. Because satisfaction is my core. And I was looking for something else that I thought was satisfaction. And experience taught me what it really was for me. So it's got to come out of that. But the last thing I'll mention today is the whole thing about the human design chart. You've got coloured bits, coloured centres, coloured, the defined centres and the defined gates, and you've got white bits. And they tend to call the coloured stuff your design. And then the white bits say where you're open and you get conditioned. And yes, that's true. When you're coming from lack of experience and you're coming from making decisions with your mind, yeah. But that white stuff might be your greatest vulnerability in terms of it can weaken you and distract you and take you totally away from who you are. But that white stuff is your greatest strength, your greatest asset. And when you start doing the basics really, really well, you start living strategy and inner authority. And you're aware of all the options. See, the white stuff, the coloured stuff is your ability to do. I've said this in other videos. It's your ability to do. And everyone has a unique, specific design of what they're designed to do. And the white stuff is your ability to receive the support you need to do what you need to do. But to be that receptive, you need to be open to everything and then learn to be discerning about what you take from all that's on offer. Make sure that what you take really does support you doing what you're designed to do. And that's a whole area now I'm working with clients and in courses and stuff like that, really developing that, because this whole area of receiving, of getting past the conditioning, once we get past that, once people get, in a sense, significantly deconditioned, where they know, and you never fully know. I mean, I know people who've been around for a while and they go, yeah, I've gone through this in the last couple of years and I'm really deconditioned. And that's the point when you're pretty much certain your conditioning is starting to kick in. Because when you think you're really deconditioned is when the real stuff. When you are, you're too busy receiving the support you need and doing what you're designed to do. To worry, you just keep an eye on that, but strategy and inner authority enables you to decide from all the options you receive which are the ones to take and let the rest go. And fine-tuning the ability to receive. People in the past have called it things like the law of attraction, the magic of receiving, all of that, it's profound stuff. But here's the practical part of your makeup where you are designed to attract into your life what you need to support you doing what you're designed to do. You're designed to act in a particular way, and you're designed to attract what you need, and you've got the ability. In fact, you're designed to attract so many possibilities and options because there are so many possibilities out there in the future. It is uncharted. It's not written in stone. And the more effective we become at making decisions, the wider the scope of options is. And this whole area, I told a story about it or parts of it in the video I did on the power of profile, and I talked about parts of it in another video I did from the Arthurian legend. I'll be using a lot of that because it's a great story, and I've seen it in my own life. As I've started really getting better at it, at living my strategy and inner authority. Has so many options, so many possibilities, so many people to work with, so many ways of going with my life, my design, so many, from 2 years ago being single and now having a partner and 3 kids and 15 family. It's just like, whoa. And how did I know that was the right way to go for me? I used strategy I didn't use it. Strategy and inner authority decided. It just kicked in. I look back at it later, hey, I was following my strategy and inner authority. That's where you want it to be, where it's happening. And you go, oh, yeah, there it is. Not, okay, I've got to use my strategy and inner authority. No, relax. Let it happen. When you make love, when you play basketball, when you play golf, and tennis, the more relaxed you are, whatever training, whatever preparation you've done kicks in and so much more. That's what's so cool about it. That's what's so incredible about it. And this ability to receive, you have to be relaxed to receive. You have to be, the biggest problem with making decisions with our mind and why it only had a limited life span, tens of thousands of years, is because when you're making decisions with your mind, it automatically blocks your ability to receive because you're trying to do your open centers and open channels and open gates. You're so busy doing what we call these days conditioning, trying to be a generator when you're a projector or a manifester, that you block your ability to receive, which makes it seem like life is really hard and, it's such a struggle to get what you need. But when you get in tune with your strategy and inner authority and start living your design, start being the manifester you are and finding the best and highest expression of that, which only comes to you via strategy and inner authority and receiving and applying strategy and inner authority over and over again without thinking about it too much, by being relaxed and then allowing that to clear up your stuff. I come from a background where people were working on stuff so much. I still notice it now with people around me. We work on our stuff and it's like, hey, relax. Your stuff will come up when you're ready to deal with it quite naturally, and you'll have the ability to deal with it sincerely and effectively when you're following strategy and inner authority. That's one thing I've learned for sure. And then fine-tuning this ability to receive. So much potential there to get what you need by attracting it. You know, to do what you do, to act the way you're designed to act, to attract what you need to support you acting the way you're designed to act, and then to put them together where 1 + 1 = 11. You know, it's not 2. Or 1 plus, whichever way you want to put it, 0. 1, you know, 1 + 0 = 10 or whatever, you know, but you get the point. It just amplifies and just takes you to a whole new level. That's what they're talking about with win-win. It's not I get what I want and they get what they want. That's not win-win. Win-win is when you get what you really want or need, the other person get what they really want or need, and you get so much more as well. That's win-win. And living your design is the most practical way of getting to that experience and being able to produce it while acknowledging how different people are, respecting your own differences, respecting theirs, making decisions with your inner authority, sharing your unique perspectives in the world without being politically correct or, you know, yelled at for having them. Bringing it together and creating something that no one imagined, going into uncharted territory, better than anyone imagined. And that's where human design has to go. And to do that day by day, step by step, for me, live my design and be open to learning about what I'm designed to do, how I'm supposed to act, learning how to receive, how I attract what I need, and learning to let this part of me decide which things of all the things that I take on board, which are the most supportive things for me, and then how to bring them together, how to integrate them. And so we're rebranding everything I'm doing under the banner action, attraction, integration. Now, it wasn't like, I just made that up. I wrote a book titled that, right, in 2003 and published it in 2004. So we're going to release this again. We've edited it. It was on numbers and working with numbers and stuff like that. And we're going to edit it and put it out there fairly soon. It's well underway. And I'm going, that has been a theme when I was in science, when I was in sport, when I was in business. It was a theme when I got into working with numbers, when I worked with astrology, when I worked with human potential development, metaphysics, and even spirituality, when I again got back into business, in relationships, in dating. But human design just like, okay, let's bring it into reality. Let's make it real in the real world. Let's give people really a sense of how truly valuable each one of them is and how unique and what their gifts are, what they bring to the table, and how to empower that through receiving. You're unique, but without the ability, it's better to give than receive, but in order to give, you must know how to receive so that you can give, and then to bring that together. And one of the people I'm working with, Cheryl Daly, just clicked on this. Cheryl was a client of mine for a long time now. We're working together, and she's doing a brilliant job on it. And she came and she looked at that book and said, that's what you do. Someone else pointed this out to me just recently, or helped me realize anyway. that my great work is helping people discover and embrace the best and highest use of their design, but also the rest of who they are, as much as I've got the ability to help them with that. And the way I do it is by pointing out you're designed to act, you're designed to attract so you can act. It empowers your ability to act. And you're designed to bring them together, integrate them, because that's when so much more is revealed, so much more is achieved, so much more is discovered, so much more benefit comes to you and everyone you're involved with. And the future of human design, from my point of view, or your design, is in really getting the languaging, the understanding, the presentation, coming out of real experience and showing people what's possible. Not because we're better than, not because we're enlightened and you're not. That's rubbish. Having pursued all that for 40 years, seriously, the one thing you do when you get enlightened is realise it doesn't make you better than anybody. You just realise what you're capable of, and you want to help as many other people as possible, But help them in a way that helps them, not where they follow your ideas. And that's where we're going to go. That's where I see human design being a real benefit and a real contributor to our growth as human beings. A real benefit to many, many human beings is to understand you're unique, you have your own way of doing things, your own way of acting. You've also got an inherent gift in you to receive what you need to do what you're here to do. Life set you up that way. And if you make decisions far more accurately with strategy and inner authority, your mind stops blocking that ability to receive, and then you can go to the whole next level for you. You can bring out the very best and the highest in you, as far as you decide, and in the way that you decide, knowing that those decisions are coming from a part of you that's far more aware of the uncharted than your mind is capable of being. It can only map the uncharted when it gets there, right? But your body and life can go that way, right? Why? Just check it out, And that was so much easier, and I've discovered so much more there. And this is what the future of human design is. So I've talked a long time, and I hope you've found some benefit from it. I've really enjoyed it. And I'm going to do more of these, the future of your design videos, as more of it becomes clear, sharing some of the examples. I could keep it all to myself and write a killer book or blah, 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 blah. But we don't have time for just that. I mean, I'll do things like that for sure, because I'm committed to do it. And I enjoy doing it. It's fun. And I've got the time to do it, the energy to do it. But I'm going to put it out there. And if other people, really want to take human design to the next level, whether you're already well established in human design in your experience or known or anybody, hey, you want to work with us? Fine. Great. As long as I'm able to respect your unique approach and you're able to help me bring out more of what's there. Because this is something we're going to do together. I've had so much help from my friend Darryl Reeves, from Cheryl, from many, many other people, from my partner. Doesn't know a thing about human design, but boy, does she live it. She's such an example to me and an inspiration. It's a great thing to be a human being when you click into the fact that you're designed to do it elegantly, easily. Yes, there's stuff that'll challenge you. There's things that need to be healed and cleared for sure. But if you miss the elegance and the ease, even when you're going into deep stuff, you know, when James Cameron was doing that diving, everyone had to really relax and trust the process and trust each other. But you couldn't have people panicking, stressing out, because your lives were on the line. Well, our future and our lives are on the line. We need to relax, let go of the stress, use our strategy and inner authority until we see, hey, man, this works. And find out how it works for you on terms that you understand, that make sense to you. And then the possibilities are as wide as we wish to make them and as profound for each of us and humanity, for our children's children and humanity. We give them untold possibilities to enjoy, to explore. And in my case, when I leave, I want to be satisfied. I want to be happy that I made a difference, that I contributed, and that I did it in a way where I enjoyed each step of the way, even the challenges. So thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you again another time. See you later.